Washington State Governor Bob Ferguson has signed a new bill into law today that expands Washington State's hate crime laws. In today's video, I've got a very quick update on a bill that we've been tracking all session long. Hey everybody, I'm Julie Barrett, founder of Conservative Ladies of America. And today I've got a very quick update, the final update on House Bill 1052, which seeks to expand Washington's hate crime laws. This bill was supposedly at the request of the King County prosecutor, who went to the prime sponsor, which is Cindy Ryu, and asked that they clarify what a hate crime is so it would make it easier for juries to find people guilty of a hate crime. It's a very small but impactful change. The underlying words in whole or in part are the only thing that changed in Washington State's hate crime laws. So it says a person is guilty of a hate crime offense if the person maliciously and intentionally commits one of the following acts in whole or in part because of their perception of another person's race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender expression or identity, or mental, physical, or sensory disability. The bill goes on to detail what all of those are. Now, the rest of the bill is already in existing law. So it's simply those underlying words in whole or in part that are being added to the existing laws, like I said, to make it easier for juries to find people guilty of a hate crime or a bias incident. Now, I'm sure you can probably imagine all of the problems with this, but because of the language of hate crime or bias incident, it's very vague, allowing a jury or a prosecutor to make up a story, fabricate a story on things that aren't necessarily fact or reality. We have First Amendment rights here in America, and we cannot prosecute people because of the thoughts in their head or because of the words that they say. They have the right to say words, whether we like them or not, whether they should or not. We can't be calling words violence. But as you know, this is something that the left does, and they do it very well. And Washington actually has a hate crimes and bias incidents task force, and they'll be setting up a hotline that the pilot goes into effect in 3 counties in Washington state in July of this year, with a full statewide rollout in January of 2027. Now, I'm going to play an interesting clip for you from the very first committee hearing in the House Community Safety Committee, when the prime sponsor, Representative Ryu, was presenting her bill to the committee. Representative Griffey asks a very important question.
So let me ask you a question. If somebody comes onto my property, which they've done before, taken my American flag and burned my American flag in front of me, could that be under this bill? Could that, in your estimation of how the bill could be implemented, would that be considered a hate crime?
Boy, I'm not in, you know better than I do. You could probably tell me whether that's a hate crime or not.
Would you believe that to be a hate crime as the maker or sponsor of the bill?
It's having been an insurance agent, I can tell you that's absolutely a trespass and destruction of someone's property. As to whether that's a hate crime or not, I would guess that is more of a desecration of a flag, whether it's an American flag or any other flag, but I don't know whether it rises to hate crimes.
Follow up?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have strong felt beliefs, and it hurts bad when somebody does that. By the definition and what we've seen in this bill, I think that would fit in my group. In my thought process, I would ask that maybe you think a little deeper about that and see if that might be something that could be elevated to hate crime.
Isn't it interesting how she can't answer the question? It's similar to what we saw a few days ago with Governor Bob Ferguson when he was asked for the definition of domestic extremism, domestic terrorism. And he said, well, we don't really have a definition for that, which is actually true in the Washington state laws. There is no definition for domestic terrorism. And that actually came out of his office as the attorney general. So they're very strategic, they're very smart, and they're very manipulative with their language.
Whether something meets the definition of domestic terrorism, just I don't know exactly what that definition is, but this is obviously a serious situation as far as
it was no surprise that Governor Ferguson signed this bill into law today. He has actually been a big advocate for having accountability for so-called hate crimes and bias incidents. At the bill signing today, he actually said that this bill will make it easier to find people guilty of bias incidents.
House Bill 1052 makes it more clear for juries that bias does not need to be the only motive for a hate crime. The lack of clarity is a real problem that prosecutors say has been a barrier during trials. Clarifying the definition ensures accountability for those who commit hate crimes. All Washingtonians, needless to say, deserve to be safe and feel safe in our communities.
Like I said before, this is all about perception. It is vague, it is open to interpretation, and if you know anything about Western Washington, Washington State in general, you know that the justice system has been very captured by the left. These laws are only made to protect a certain group of people, and I can guarantee I am not in that group. I don't know about you, but I know that I am not. House Bill 1052 has now been signed by the governor in Washington, so it will take effect probably sometime in July, and that closes out our tracking of this bill from start to finish when it dropped in December. And now here we are in May, and the bill has been signed into law. I have done a number of videos on hate crimes because this isn't just a Washington problem, and they actually get federal funding for their hate crimes. That is in the Department of Justice. That's something that they do. So I'm going to link up some of the previous videos I've done on hate crimes. If you're curious about these, it's definitely something that they are ratcheting up, and people should be very concerned about and educate themselves about the laws so that you can take actions to protect yourself and your family. Please do give this video a thumbs up, even though we don't like the content. That really helps us. Leave a comment. Would love to hear your thoughts on this bill in what has been a garbage legislative session out of Washington State. Please do share this video with others so that they know what's going on. And if you're not already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our Substack, which is the best way to get breaking alerts and calls to action. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.